Who will actually stand beside his coffin? Who's coming to say goodbye to the man who shaped decades of American power? Will George W. Bush deliver a tribute that stuns the nation? And what about Donald Trump? Will he break his silence or stay away? Even now, hours before the final farewell, questions hang heavy in Washington. Dick Cheney's funeral is no ordinary ceremony. It's the end of an era, and the beginning of a mystery no one saw coming. The former U.S. Vice President, a man both feared and respected, left us on Monday, November 3rd, surrounded by his family. He was 84, his final moments, quiet, peaceful, far removed from the storms that once defined his life. For decades, Dick Cheney stood at the center of American power, shaping wars, strategies, and history itself. Now, as the flags across the nation fly at half-staff, the world waits to see how this story will conclude, and who will appear to pay their final respects. As of Tuesday afternoon, no official details of the funeral had been released. No time, no location, no confirmed guests. Even the White House seemed unsure. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that President Donald Trump was aware of Cheney's death, but not yet involved in the arrangements. Her words, calm but cryptic, only deepened the suspense. Would the sitting president attend? Would he speak? Or would this goodbye unfold without the nation's leader present? Reporters pressed for answers. None came. The only thing confirmed was that the flags would remain at half-staff, in accordance with statutory law. That's all the country had: silence and speculation. Meanwhile, whispers began to rise from behind closed doors. Would former President George W. Bush, Cheney's closest political partner and the man with whom he shared one of the most powerful White House relationships in modern history, take the podium to honor him? Insiders said Bush was deeply moved by the news, and sources close to the Bush family revealed that he was already preparing words that could define Cheney's legacy forever. But whether he would speak them publicly or privately remained unknown. The nation waited. Cheney's death came after years of declining health, 5 heart attacks, multiple surgeries, and a life sustained by science and willpower. He had once called his 2012 heart transplant a second chance from God. For a man known as the architect of America's post-9/11 wars, that humility was rare and revealing. It showed the human beneath the headlines, the quiet soul behind the iron mask. His family, wife Lynn, daughters Liz and Mary, stayed close in those final days. But even among family there were tensions, old disagreements, old wounds, political and personal, all now shadowing the moment of farewell. Would they appear together? Would they speak? Or would silence once again define Dick Cheney's story? He was born in Lincoln, Nebraska, and raised in Wyoming, a man from small beginnings who would one day shape global destiny. Now, speculation grows that his funeral may return him to those roots. Wyoming, the land of open skies and quiet dignity, might soon hold one of the most powerful burials in U.S. history. As the capital prepares for what could be a state funeral, officials are reviewing the possibility of Cheney lying in state, a rare honor reserved for the most consequential figures in American history. Senate Majority Leader John Thune confirmed that protocols were being checked. That one line, "We're checking the protocols," sent waves through Washington. Because if approved, Cheney would join the likes of Henry Clay and Don Young, leaders who once rested beneath the Great Dome of the U.S. Capitol as millions passed by in silence. And if that happens, who will be there? The images alone could shake the world. George W. Bush, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, all under one roof, one flag, one history. All to honor a man who shaped their destinies in ways few ever could. But will that happen? Or will politics and silence take the place of unity? For now, nothing is certain. The Cheney family has not released funeral details. No venue, no burial site. Every network, every journalist, every historian is waiting for one press release that could reveal it all. Rumors swirl that Wyoming or Washington, D.C. could host the ceremony. Others whisper that Cheney's family may choose something smaller, more private, far from cameras and controversy. And if that's true, it would be a powerful final statement. The man who once commanded the world, choosing to leave it quietly. But for millions, the memories remain loud. Cheney was a man who never sought popularity, only results. He faced wars, crises, and criticism with the same cold calm he became famous for. He embraced the nickname Darth Vader, wearing it as both armor and identity. He once said, "I don't care what the critics say. History will judge." And history now begins that judgment. Tributes have begun pouring in from across the political spectrum. Former allies call him a visionary strategist, a guardian of American security, and a leader of steel. Critics call him something else: the power behind the curtain, the man who changed America forever. But whether you admired him or opposed him, one truth remains. Dick Cheney's influence will echo through generations. Even those who once clashed with him, Democrats, journalists, foreign leaders, have spoken of his intellect, his discipline, and his unshakable will. Few men held so much control. Fewer still wielded it with such precision. And now, as tributes rise and flags fall, the one question remains: who will speak last? If George W. Bush appears, it would be a moment of deep emotion. The two men, once inseparable, drifted apart after leaving office. This funeral could be their final reunion, a scene of closure that the world has waited years to see. And if Donald Trump attends, it would mark a rare acknowledgement between the past and present of Republican power, a handshake between two eras of American politics. But if neither comes, if the funeral proceeds in silence with only family and close friends, then that too would be a message. One last act of control from the man who always dictated the terms. Outside Washington, the nation watches. Cameras wait. Reporters refresh feeds by the minute. Some say the ceremony could take place within days. Others believe it will be delayed as discussions continue. Whatever the truth, this much is clear. Dick Cheney's farewell is not just a funeral. It's history unfolding in real time. And so the questions remain. Who will walk through those church doors? Who will speak his name for the last time? Will the man who once commanded nations be honored by all, or remembered by a few? The answers are coming soon. And when they do, the world will be watching. Because Dick Cheney's story was never about peace. It was about power. And even in death, that power still holds the world in suspense. And as the nation waits for the final announcement, one thing is certain. This is not just the end of a man's life, but the closing chapter of an era that shaped America's destiny. Dick Cheney's name will echo in debates, documentaries, and history books for generations. Whether you admired him or questioned him, his influence cannot be denied. Stay tuned, because in the days ahead, when that funeral door finally opens, the world will be watching. Subscribe for more true stories that unveil the hidden power behind history.